You're listening to How to Drink Less, and I'm your host, Adriana Cloud. Whether your goal is to cut back, take a break, or say goodbye to alcohol for good, this podcast will help you stop drinking on autopilot, learn how to manage cravings, and feel fully in control around alcohol. It's easier than you think. Listen on to find out how. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me for another episode. If you're new here, welcome. I'm your certified gray area drinking coach and certified hypnotist, coming up on celebrating 5 years sober very soon, after more than a decade of being a daily drinker. And if you're a regular listener, I am so glad that you're back. If there is any topic that you want me to cover in an upcoming episode, please email me and let me know. I would love to hear from you. My email is in the show notes. Today, we're diving into something that so many people struggle with, often with a lot of self-judgment attached, and that is, how on earth do you drink less during the holidays? The holiday season can be one of the most emotionally complicated times of the year. And if you're trying to cut back on drinking or take a break or get sober or simply not spiral, it can feel like every single thing around you is pulling you towards alcohol. There's work parties, there's family gatherings, there's travel, nostalgia, loneliness, stress, FOMO, the pressure to have the absolutely most amazing time ever so you can post on Instagram about it. And there's also all of our old patterns and a lifetime of conditioning that says, this is what we do. We drink during the holidays. So today, I want to walk you through exactly how to prepare yourself for this season, practically, emotionally, and mentally, so that you can get through the next few weeks with your self-trust and self-respect intact. Let's get into it. First, a word about why it can seem harder not to drink during the holidays. For one thing, there's a cultural conditioning that alcohol is a requirement for fun and for celebration. We're practically brainwashed to think that flutes of champagne are obligatory on New Year's Eve and that it's not a real holiday without drinking. We see this in ads, in movies, books, store displays. This message is everywhere. We have special drinks for this time of year, like mulled wine and punch and eggnog. And we even give alcohol as a gift, and that's somehow acceptable, apparently. It's also a time of year when we're told that we should not restrict ourselves. We should let loose. Schedules are different, and there's a general sense of joyful anarchy about this time of year. And you might even find yourself thinking, I deserve this. I've worked hard all year. I've earned the right to enjoy myself and blow off some steam. And if those are your beliefs, if you think that alcohol is necessary to have fun, but you're also currently working on quitting or trying to drink less, you will think that you're missing out and you will feel deprived. Another reason many people drink is to relax and deal with stress. And there's no denying that there's huge amounts of added stress during the holidays. There's the practical side of the year ending, things like work deadlines, bills to pay, the financial stress of buying presents and paying premium prices for traveling. And there's also taking stock of the year and realizing that we abandoned 90% of our New Year's resolutions many, many months ago. And once again, we're not where we wanted to be. And there's the stress of planning elaborate feasts and hosting people and having to sit through entire afternoons next to your least favorite relatives. And if you're used to drinking to unwind and to turn off your brain, you will find it challenging to deal with holiday stress without booze. And finally, there's also lots of emotional triggers this time of year. Things like loneliness, nostalgia, grief. At a time of year when everyone else around you seems to be beaming with joy and gratitude and frolicking with their families, it can be immensely challenging if you are single or living with an illness or disability or grieving loved ones. And if you're used to medicating unpleasant emotions with alcohol, it's difficult to move through the holidays without relying on the bottle too much. So, if this is all sounding familiar, I want you to know you're not weak. You're not broken, there's nothing wrong with you, and you're not the only one. It's our social conditioning that's working against you, first of all. And second of all, if you find the holidays especially triggering, that's your brain doing exactly what it's been trained to do. It's repeating old patterns and bringing up old associations that it has learned and reinforced over years and years, if not decades. But fortunately, you're not powerless. And I'm going to help you to not just survive the holidays, but to thrive through them. We're not going for perfection here, but we're going for strategies that give you the best chance of success. So, the first thing you will want to do is plan ahead. Not because you need rigid rules, but because your future self deserves all the support you can give them. Please do not just hope that you will somehow be able to magically moderate. I say this with all the love in the world because I have tried that and it does not work. Wishful thinking feels good, but if you want real results, you need to make a plan ahead of time. And it starts with setting an honest goal. What do you want the holiday season to look like? Are you going for fully sober holidays? Are you planning to drink at some events but have a few dry days in between? Are you committing to having no more than 2 drinks at any one sitting? There's no one right answer here and no moral hierarchy either. You get to decide what works best for you and what is doable. And then I want you to look at your calendar. Circle the events where alcohol will be flowing and ask yourself, do I actually want to go to all of these? Which ones really matter? Which ones drain me just to think about them? And which ones would I really love to skip? Because you're allowed to decline some invitations, even if people will be disappointed. This is me giving you permission if you were looking for a permission slip. And if you're planning not to drink alcohol, you will also want to decide what you will drink instead. Please don't leave this to chance. If you're going out for dinner somewhere, try to find the menu ahead of time and see what non-alcoholic options they have. If you're going to an office party, see if you can find out what the drink choices will be. If you're going to someone's house, bring your own alcohol-free drinks. If people are coming over to your house, stock up. Because when you have options, you're more likely to make more aligned choices. Next, I want you to plan for what you're going to tell other people about your drinking or about choosing not to drink. Of course, it's none of their business, we know that, but some people will ask you and maybe even pressure you. And again, I give you permission to lie. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone if you're not ready to explain yourself. So you can say things like, I have a headache. I just feel better when I don't drink. I have terrible nightmares when I don't drink. And you can make up a really good story. Last time I drank, I ended up punching a bus, and I really don't want to do that again, so I'm choosing not to drink tonight. The other thing I tell my clients is when someone asks you, would you like a drink? Don't say, no, I'm not drinking. Say, yes, I would love a soda or a lemonade or a tea or whatever your non-alcoholic drink of choice is. But the point is, your answer should start with a yes. This works on 2 levels because subconsciously, when you say no, there's that implication that you're denying yourself something that you want. But if you say yes, you're owning your choice. And second of all, it's harder for the other person to argue with a yes. If someone tells you that that's what they want, you tend to let them have it because it's their choice. So practice this. Practice answering with a yes. I also encourage you to line up support ahead of time. Is there someone who knows that you're trying not to drink? It's okay if the answer is no. But if there is someone who is supporting you as you're trying to make this change, I recommend you have a chat with them about how they can help you this time of year. You can ask them to text you, to check in on you during your office holiday party, or while you're at the airport waiting for your flight. You can have them call you with a fake emergency if you want to get out of a particular situation. If they're physically with you at whatever event you're at, you can ask them to sit next to you and to just be nearby if you need them to remind you why you're choosing not to drink. That was the general, more practical prep that I encourage everyone to do. But I also want you to think about your specific triggers and what have you relied on alcohol to do for you in the past. I mentioned in the beginning that there are a few different reasons why we drink more during the holidays: to have fun, to relax, and to escape difficult emotions. I want you to consider where you fall across that spectrum so you can decide how you're going to handle your urges when they inevitably come. And I cannot stress this point enough. You will have urges. There will be moments when your brain defaults to its old programming and you will crave a drink. This is not a problem because the urge in itself is not a call to action. You still get to decide how to respond to it. Now, let's talk about drinking as a requirement to having fun. I want you to start challenging the idea that alcohol is fun. Yes, I know it feels good the first 15 minutes because you get a huge hit of dopamine, which is the feel-good hormone. But really think about the price you're paying for that 15 minutes of fun. Play the tape forward, and you will start to see that alcohol creates far less fun than it promises. You're less in control of your mind and what you say and what you do. So if you drink, you're more likely to say something that you will regret. You're spending more money when you drink. You're ruining your sleep. You're ruining tomorrow morning. You might have a physical hangover or have nausea. You will smell terrible. You might have a headache. And your poor organs will be struggling to process the alcohol. And you might not even remember what you did. So it's good to ask yourself, if I can't even remember, how much fun was it really? And if you need alcohol in order to enjoy the company of certain people or a certain event or situation, I want you to ask yourself, is that really fun? If I need to be drinking to get through it, how much fun really is that? And then ask yourself, what else is fun? What do you like about this time of year? Make a list. Maybe you like mince pies and Christmas cookies. Maybe you love spending time with your family. Maybe you love cheesy Christmas movies and Christmas carols. Maybe you love that you don't have to be in the office. Maybe you love decorations and beautiful holiday lights. Maybe you love that people are more generous this time of year. The point is to reconnect to what you love about this time of year and to redefine what fun is. Think about what new traditions you might want to start that don't revolve around alcohol. Maybe you can make up a fun game to play at this time of year or come up with new rituals. And if you want some more ideas, I have a whole episode on how to have fun without drinking, so I recommend you check that out. It's episode 27. And now, let's talk about what to do if you're used to using alcohol to relax and de-stress. Yes, alcohol mimics relaxation. It slows down your nervous system and sedates you, but that's not actual relaxation. So start asking yourself, what else might I do to relax? Can you book a massage? Plan to do some gentle yoga? Stock up on your favorite teas and candles and do a meditation. Could you maybe go for a walk or pet your dog or take a bubble bath? Just spend some time thinking about what else you might need in the moment and make sure to prepare it ahead of time. Of course, not all of these suggestions will be available or accessible in the moment, but what can you set up ahead of time? Things like building in some alone time, or making a playlist of calming music, or bringing some chamomile tea with you when you travel because you know it's your favorite kind of tea and it always helps you to relax. And then remind yourself that alcohol doesn't actually solve whatever is stressing you out. At best, it just masks the symptoms of stress, but at worst, you're also adding to your stressors because you now have a headache and guilt on top of everything else that was causing you stress to begin with. And when you drink, you're actually less capable of dealing with stress because you're not thinking clearly. Alcohol literally affects your cognitive abilities and your problem solving abilities. So you're not able to focus as well, and you don't have access to your higher brain. And I have a special episode on that as well. It's episode 28, How to Relax Without Drinking. So check it out for more tips. And if you use alcohol to tamp down difficult emotions, please be really gentle with yourself here. There's no denying that this time of year can be hard if you're navigating heavy emotions. Start by reminding yourself that difficult feelings are normal and sometimes unavoidable. They're part of the human condition. And even though they don't feel great, they're not actually dangerous to us. We have the capacity to process difficult emotions. So, very gently, get curious about those feelings. What happens if you don't resist them, but make room for them and decide that you will allow them to be there? What happens if you just sit with those feelings and observe them? What can those feelings teach you? And you can remind yourself that alcohol doesn't do anything to change the cause of why you have these feelings in the first place. Once again, it just masks the symptoms. And a really wonderful thing you can do is to ask yourself, what do I really need right now? When you find that your mind is telling you that alcohol will help, pause and ask yourself, how else can I comfort myself in this moment? What would it look like to really take care of myself? And if you know that historically you have struggled to feel your feelings and really even name and understand your feelings, I have an episode about that too. It's episode number 9, How to Feel Your Feelings Without Numbing Them. And I do recommend that you listen to that one as well. And finally, as you prepare for how you're going to navigate the holiday season, I want you to promise me this, that you will have your own back. This is the part that most people skip, but you can decide now that no matter what happens, you will not shame yourself, you will not punish yourself, and you will not make one choice mean anything about your future or about who you are as a person. If you slip and end up drinking more than you planned to, it doesn't erase your progress and all the work you've already done. It's just a data point. It's useful information for where you still have some work to do. That's all. Talk to yourself the way that you would speak to someone you love. Give yourself permission to be human, to feel emotions, to adjust your plans, and to learn through the process. Self-compassion is not the same as making excuses. Self-compassion is the foundation of long-term change. Now, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, this all sounds great, but I still don't fully trust myself, that's completely normal. Changing your relationship with alcohol is not a switch you can just flip. It's a practice. You show up again and again, and you try your best, and you learn and you grow until your new habits become the default. And that's why support matters so much, especially this time of year. These next 6 weeks can feel overwhelming, and you don't have to navigate them alone. If you already know that you would benefit from some guidance because you have tried cutting back on your own and it's not working, then let's talk. I offer free consultations, no strings attached. On our call, we will talk about your drinking patterns, the exact situations that feel most difficult for you, and the outcomes you truly want, especially during the holidays. I will help you understand exactly what's happening in your brain and why certain moments feel harder than others. And together, we can create a clear, personalized plan for how to move through the holidays with confidence and support. You don't have to wait until January. In fact, waiting often makes things harder. You can choose to feel better right now. The sooner we start working together, the better chance you have of enjoying this holiday season without feeling like you're clinging on for dear life. The link to book a consultation is in the show notes, and I hope you will use it because I look forward to talking to you. Take good care, and I'll see you all next week. If you're looking for practical advice for how to say no to alcohol and say yes to yourself, you will want to get on my email list. Sign up to receive my free guide with 7 steps to kickstart your sobriety. The link is in the show notes, so go and grab it now, and I'll see you soon in your inbox.